21 Pilots has officially ended their 10-year-long story that coincides with each album release. And a lot of people are both confused and sad, and I just kind of wanted to make a video covering it because it's a lot more in-depth than what people actually imagine. A lot of people seem to believe that this is another cliffhanger. It's not. This is the definitive ending. Today I'm here to prove that this ending is the best possible ending for a story of this caliber. If you're not familiar with the 21 Pilots lore, I'll just give you the synopsis. The story follows a character named Clancy who lives in a circular cement city called Dima. This city is surrounded by a lush and green wilderness called Trench that no one has ever seen because Dima doesn't have an entrance or an exit. The city of Dima is ruled by 9 bishops, the most powerful of all of them being Nico, or Blurryface. The bishops have a hijacked religion, which means that if they keep their citizens in a state of suffering and then convince them that death is the only paradise so that they can use their bodies in a process that is called seizing, which allows them to use the corpses of a deceased citizen, but only for a short while. But Clancy, he is a very smart boy. Clancy does inevitably manage to escape by creating a fiery diversion with a vehicle. He then discovers Trench and subsequently the people of Trench, the Banditos. The Banditos are all former citizens of Dima that have also managed to escape, but have never been recaptured. They all wear yellow. Yellow is a color that the bishops cannot see. That's how they're able to live on the outskirts of Dima. One of those Banditos is the Torchbearer. The Torchbearer is special. He has some sort of power that allows him to be any place where he wants to be by creating hallucinations of himself to other people. Once the Torchbearer finds Clancy, Torchbearer makes it his mission to rescue Clancy after he was captured once again. After Clancy was reclaimed by the Banditos, they took him to their camp, taught him their colors, and kept him safe for a while until once again he was captured by Nico. Interestingly enough about Nico is that he only ever captures Clancy, none of the other Banditos, despite Clancy wearing yellow, which will be important later. So this time, Clancy becomes known in Dima as some sort of savior, and the bishops don't like this, but they use it to their advantage. Instead, they turn Clancy into an idol, and they allow him to make music, but only under the watchful eyes of the bishops. The music that he has to make is propaganda, and this propaganda music is so popular that the bishops decide to celebrate in a submarine under the sea, which then gets attacked by a sea dragon, which one of the bishops, Keon's, is controlling. The bishop betrayed the rest of the 9 bishops, which quickly got him killed, but Clancy was free. He actually survived and landed on an island called Voltsoy, where he was able to acquire the very same weapon that the bishops use. He can use these antlers to seize dead bodies just like the bishops can, and using this power, he and the Banditos decide to take down Nico once and for all. Once Clancy, Torchbearer, and the Banditos reach the city walls, Nico and the bishops raise an army of the dead to try to stop them. When the Banditos begin fighting the army of the undead, Clancy slips away and tries to find Nico himself, taking down all 7 of the other bishops in one fell swoop, only to be captured by Nico once again, almost losing to him, but he quickly regains his footing and manages to survive the first attack. Unfortunately though, after a lengthy battle between the two, it ends with Clancy being stabbed in the chest by his very own weapon, and he falls to the ground, only to get up moments later. He takes out Nico once and for all, and dons the cloaks of the bishops, handing cloaks to other Banditos, and the other Banditos, thinking that he's in the right, decide to become bishops with him, except Torchbearer. You could tell that this was not the intended ending that he had in mind, just by the look of his face and the fact that he didn't join Clancy, but instead walking away and regrouping with his other fellow Banditos and saying that that's not Clancy up there anymore, that Clancy is still out there. So that is the rough synopsis of it. If you really want to get in depth on the lore, I would definitely look at the I Am Clancy and I Am Torchbearer videos. But for now, that's all I'm gonna say. And now I want to talk about the meaning behind it all, because a lot of people were, rightfully so, confused about the ending. It is a cycle. Mental health has always been a touchy subject for me, and I really resonate with 21 Pilots' story because, from my perspective at least, it mirrors a lot of what I had to go through to get to my point where I am right now. There isn't a straight shot to the end. There is no winning on the first try when it comes to mental health. You always have to keep trying because something in life is always going to come and hit you over the head and knock you down to your knees. Sometimes you just give in to your feelings and you lash out at people. The ending of the Clancy storyline is a lot like what I had to go through. I had to suffer through many cycles of my own mental health. A lot of my mental health struggle happened at night when the lights were out, when nobody was around. I remember staying up until like 3 3 in the morning, just restlessly staring at the ceiling, thinking about all of the things I've done wrong, everything that I've been through, and just pitying myself for it. There was a lot of things that I wish that I could have changed about my childhood that I unfortunately had no control over, and having my torchbearer help guide me through each cycle only to fail, never giving up hope that one day I will be happy, I will be healthy. I never gave up on that dream. I never wanted to let my mental health win. I never wanted to hurt someone because I wasn't in the best place mentally. I've unfortunately hurt a lot of people in my past, and that isn't something that I can change. But because I chose to never give up, because I chose to continue restarting the cycle, going through the motions and pushing through each hardship, and I managed to clean myself of the darkness that would consume me every night. Just because you were thrown into that very same box that you thought you crawled out from doesn't mean that you can't crawl out from that box and try again. One of my favorite lyrics from one of their songs, Truce, is, "The sun will rise and we will try again." I learned to separate my own Clancy from my Nico. Me being the way I am, I'll use my creativity to cope with my mental stability. A lot of my artworks had a reoccurring theme to them, like a motif that would reoccur in each of the artworks, and that's how I was able to catch on to what was wrong with me, because I was able to identify these patterns and realize that I'm drawing this because I'm going through this. Now I need to find out how I can deal with that. It brought that self-awareness that I needed to be able to do something meaningful with that, and that is why I will forever love 21 Pilots and what they do, because they're basically doing what I did to help myself, but on a larger scale, which is why I will forever defend the ending of City Walls as the definitive ending. This story, not having a happy ending, adds so much more nuance to it. There's always hope, because whatever you do in life, you will fail at. You will fail time and time again, but that doesn't mean that you can just give up because you failed. But it doesn't matter how many times right now, that while I'm recording this, I have messed up more times than I can count on my hands, and I know that I will have to go back and edit a ton of mistakes out, but that doesn't stop me. That doesn't stop me from trying to tell my story. That doesn't stop me from trying to tell people outright that you can't give up. You can't let that evil side of you win, because if you, even for a moment, think that you are incapable of doing that thing, that is completely false. That is something that your brain makes up to prevent you from doing the things that you love. No matter how many times people tell you you suck, no matter how many times you tell yourself you suck, just do it anyway. So I just kind of want to end this off by saying everybody has their own cycle that they're going through right now. Everybody is in a different place right now. So I don't expect this to work for everybody. Only you can be your own Clancy and escape your own city walls. Only you have the power to change your own life. Nobody else has the power to change your mind. Nobody has more power over this than the person wielding it. Nobody has more power than the king. I kind of want to end this video off with a little bit of inspiration for you guys. I decided to create my own mental health story journey thing, starting with the Routines in the Night music video. That is the first music video that features the storyline. So if you are invested in what I had to say today, then I would suggest go watching that video right here and try to decipher what the meaning is, since that is the first chapter of the story. That's it today. I'm going to leave it with this. You are the king of your own mind. You wear the crown.